It takes walking with people. Isn't it? Walking with people. Now, how did Jesus do it? Because when he walked by the sea of Galilee and he was selecting the disciples, who did he focus on? Very ordinary, very common, fisherfolk. People who had no profession except fishing. The only fellows that had a bit of a profession, one of them was Matthew. That was an accountant, or if you like. At least he could balance books. I don't know if there is anybody. Nearly the rest of them were fisherfolk. People who 99.9% of their time had been spent just learning how to fish. Even if you will read in Acts, they get to the point where after they healed that guy, and they are in front of the Sanhedrin, and they threaten, the Sanhedrin threatens them and tell them, go out, and they are about to come and pass judgment. And the Sanhedrin is saying, what shall we do with these people? How come they have done this and yet they have unlearned, and they are just ordinary folk, but look at what they have done. And the Bible says, but they took note. Remember that verse? I love that verse. It says, and they took note that these people had been with Jesus. That was a key thing. What ordinary fisher folk? What happened to ordinary fisher folk by simply interacting for 3 years with Jesus? What happened? Because it says they took note that these people had been with Jesus. What did Jesus do? How did he do it? And if therefore we are going to help people, to move people from just ordinary fisher folk to quality facilitators, we must look at how Jesus did it. And we have looked at it before. We have said that Jesus taught them. That was here, isn't it? Then, next. Did it as they watched. Thank you, Anne. Did it as they looked or watched. And sometimes following that, even here when he taught, there is something all the time he did. He says, a man went to sow seed. Some seed fell here, other seed fell there, other seed fell there. Remember the story? Yeah. Some seed fell by the wayside and birds came and ate them. Some seed fell on the rock and sprouted and dried up because there was no soil. Some seed fell among thorns and they germinated and then they were choked. But some seed fell on good ground and gave forth fruit 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. Finished in the crowd, and the disciples are there, and everybody has heard the parable, and Jesus does not elaborate on it. But then what happens in the evening?
You're going to ask, what did you mean?
Yes, exactly. Jesus, there are things you do that we don't quite understand now. Tell us. And Jesus waits until they come, and he is reflecting with them alone. So there are times when even in the teaching, there is, I better use a different color pen. There is a time to reflect about the lesson, about the teaching.